Did someone slam you with a false copyright strike? Do you want to get your channel back into good standing? I'm Corzine, your social media lawyer, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to fight false copyright strikes on YouTube. Let's hit this. Step number 1, don't use other people's video or audio clips in your YouTube video. Now, I know it may sound intuitive, but if you don't use other people's material in your YouTube videos, you're not going to get false copyright strikes. Instead, you may try using YouTube's audio library, music licensing services, or just get permission. Get permission from other artists to use their audio or video in your own YouTube videos, and you won't have false copyright strikes. Some of my clients come to me and say, Ian, I didn't use any other person's video or audio material. In fact, all the video in my YouTube video is my own. What do? I got a false copyright strike. I tell them at that point in time, we need to fight. We need to use the counter notification process, which we'll discuss later on in this video. Step number 2, demand a retraction. If you use someone else's video or audio in your YouTube video and you received a false copyright strike, then the next step is to demand a retraction from the owner, the purported owner of this copyrighted material. Fortunately, YouTube and the law require that the person who makes the copyright strike on your account list his name, email address, physical address, and phone number, so you know who the false striker is. There are 2 ways to demand a retraction. The first way is to go into the Creator Studio, click on Copyrights on the left-hand side, and then click on Retraction. This will bring up a window and email to the alleged copyright holder, and you're able there to demand the retraction. The other way to demand a retraction is to use a lawyer in the process. Lawyers generally make the demand via email and also US mail. An attorney-managed retraction demand process often has the added benefit of the copyright holder, the person that gave you the false copyright strike, taking the matter more seriously. And often, attorney-managed retraction processes have a better track record on getting those false copyright strikes reversed in the first instance. Regardless of whether you use a lawyer or you do the retraction process yourself, you need to take an apologetic tone in your demand for retraction. After all, you're not trying to prove to this false copyright striker, this alleged copyright holder, that you're right. No, you're not trying to do that. All you're trying to do is get that copyright strike off your account. So I advise my clients that the first line in any retraction demand should be an apology, followed by a discussion about the reason why you use this copyrighted material in the first place. And then you should end with a request that the alleged copyright holder retract, using YouTube's process, the copyright strike. If you do not receive a retraction within 7 to 10 days after you submitted it, then we move on to step number 3, the counter notification process. If you use someone else's content in your YouTube video and you got a false copyright strike and you made a retraction demand and did not get results, or you didn't use anybody else's content in your YouTube video, then we need to get together and do a DMCA counter notification. What is a DMCA counter notification? Well, DMCA stands for Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It's a US law that provides for the process on alleged copyright infringement on social media platforms. And a DMCA counter notice is a legal request to the social media platform, in this case YouTube, to reinstate the video and do away with the copyright strike. Now, a DMCA counter notice is serious business. You should only file the notice if 1, you included someone else's content in your YouTube video by mistake, or 2, that you didn't include any other content, any other person's content in your YouTube video, or 3, you did include someone else's content in your YouTube video, but you're protected by the doctrine of fair use. If you received a copyright strike for any other reason, then let it go. Go to copyright school and let the copyright strike expire on its own in 90 days. Why? Because filing a DMCA counter notice requires you to give to the alleged copyright holder, the false copyright striker, your name, your email address, your physical address, your telephone number, consent to go to federal court for a copyright infringement lawsuit, and also you have to make your statements under penalty of perjury. Once you file the notice, then the alleged copyright holder can file a federal lawsuit against you for copyright infringement. At worst, this alleged copyright holder can do nothing but use your personal information to harass you or to dox you. Yeah, it's serious business, so I always advise someone who has a legit counter notification claim to use a lawyer to manage the process. This lawyer can represent you and protect your personal information so that you don't have a situation where this false copyright striker is now harassing you, using your personal information against you. Lawyers like me totally take over the counter notification process. We file it electronically, we also do it US mail, we protect your personal information, and we get this burden of counter notification of false copyright strikes off your shoulders. Whether you file your own DMCA counter notification or you use a lawyer to manage the process, once the notice is filed, then the alleged copyright holder, the false copyright striker, has 10 days to file a federal lawsuit against you for copyright infringement. If he does, if he's provided adequate evidence to YouTube that he's filed a federal lawsuit against you, then YouTube will keep the copyright strike in effect and the video will remain down. If, however, 10 days passes and no federal lawsuit is forthcoming, then YouTube is required by law to reinstate your video and reverse the copyright strike. You win. And maybe it's possibly time for step number 4. Step number 4 is consulting with a lawyer to consider filing a lawsuit against the false copyright striker. If you are damaged by the false copyright strike, what does that mean? You lost AdSense revenue, you lost business opportunities as a result of the false copyright strike, then I would advise you to consult a lawyer about the potential for filing a copyright strike misrepresentation lawsuit against that false copyright striker. It's right there in Title 17, United States Code Section 512F. If someone represents that you used their material in your video and that was a lie, then you have the right to bring an action in federal court against them and recover your damages, everything you lost as a result of the false copyright strike, and your attorney's fees. That means the attorney's fees you paid to prosecute the action against the false copyright striker. So let's say you did use someone else's content in your YouTube video, but you're guarded by the doctrine of fair use. You can still bring this action against the alleged false copyright striker because you are protected under the law. Do you want to learn more about fair use and how to use it on YouTube? If so, watch my video right there. If you're new to the channel, come join us, the Copyright Squad. Hit the like button, consider subscribing, and join us on Discord. There's a link to the Discord server in the description section below. Okay, that's enough for today. We'll see you next time.